They told everyone I was dead, so they could keep my checks. Then I showed up at the post office. The summer air in Cedar Falls carried a heavy stillness, the kind that pressed on the skin and lingered in the lungs. I had just stepped off the bus, my old canvas bag slung across my shoulder, and for the first time in months, I was back home. My shoes crunched against the gravel as I walked slowly down Main Street, the familiar shop windows reflecting the golden haze of late afternoon. It had been a long road back. After my stay at the rehab facility, after the quiet mornings of physical therapy and the silent nights spent thinking about everything I had lost, I believed coming home would feel like stepping into warmth again. Instead, the town looked strange, like it had moved on without me. People's faces turned quickly away when they recognized me. Whispers followed me like shadows. I couldn't understand why. I carried myself toward the post office. That was always my routine when I lived here. Pick up the mail, nod at familiar faces, maybe share a short word with Mrs. Cooper at the desk. I had my social security checks sent there. They were my lifeline, small as they were. Without them, it was hard to get by. The post office stood at the corner, its brick walls faded but sturdy. The flag outside hung limp in the humid air. I pushed the door open, the cool air inside brushing against my skin like a sigh of relief. Behind the counter, Mrs. Cooper looked up, her glasses slipping down her nose. For a moment, her face froze, as if she'd seen a ghost. "Good afternoon," I said, trying to steady my voice. "I'm here to check for mail." Her hands trembled slightly as she reached for the drawer. Your name, Margaret Thompson." The room fell silent. Even the small fan in the corner seemed to pause between its whirring. Mrs. Cooper's eyes darted back and forth, as if she wasn't sure whether to hand me the stack of envelopes she surely knew were there, or call someone instead. "Margaret," she whispered finally. "But they said you were dead." I finished for her, the word heavier than I expected. "Well, I'm not. The truth came spilling out slowly, like water seeping from a cracked jar. While I was away, my daughter Linda had told the neighbors, told everyone, that I had passed on. She hadn't even called me at the facility. She had taken my checks, cashed them, and used them as her own. That explained the whispers, the wary glances, the way people seemed unsettled by the sight of me. I stepped back from the counter, the weight of it pressing on me harder than the heat outside. My own daughter, my Linda, the little girl who once held my hand at the county fair, who once whispered secrets to me at bedtime, had buried me alive with her lies. Mrs. Cooper, to her credit, straightened her shoulders. She pushed the stack of mail toward me, her lips pressed tight. "Here," she said gently. "These belong to you." I took them in my hands. My name was printed on each envelope, bold and alive. Proof that I still existed. Proof that I was still here. Walking out of the post office, I didn't head straight home. My feet carried me instead to the park at the edge of town. The benches there were weathered and splintered, but the air was softer beneath the trees. I sat down, clutching the letters to my chest, and let the breeze calm the storm inside me. I thought of Linda. I thought of the nights I worked double shifts just to keep food on the table for her and her brother Michael. I thought of the winters when I patched up her coat because we couldn't afford a new one. I thought of all the times I told her, family looks out for each other. And yet, she had decided I was worth more dead than alive. Still, as the sun dipped lower, I felt something else too. A small flicker of understanding. Maybe she had been desperate. Maybe bills had piled up. Maybe she had felt alone, cornered, and she took the wrong path. Wrong as it was, it didn't erase the years we had shared. But I also knew this. I couldn't let her take from me anymore. When I finally walked up the cracked sidewalk to Linda's house, dusk was settling in. The porch light flickered, moths circling around it in a restless dance. I knocked on the door, steady and firm. Linda opened it, her face drained of color, her mouth falling open like she'd seen something out of a nightmare. "Mom," she breathed, "it can't be you." "I'm alive," I said, stepping past her into the living room. The space smelled faintly of lavender and dust. Photographs lined the mantel, family pictures, some with me cropped out or missing entirely. Linda's eyes filled with tears. I didn't know what else to do. The bills, the mortgage, the kids' needs, it was too much. I thought. She broke off, her voice shaking. I thought it wouldn't matter. It matters, I said quietly. It matters because I trusted you. Because I'm still here, and you tried to take that from me. She sank onto the couch, covering her face with her hands. For the first time in a long while, I saw not just the woman she had become, but the girl she once was, the girl who looked for my approval, my comfort, my forgiveness. And though my heart ached, I also felt something tender break open inside me. I don't hate you, I told her softly. But things have to change. I need my life back. My checks, my name, my dignity. She nodded through her sobs. I'll make it right. I'll fix it. In the weeks that followed, the truth spread slowly through Cedar Falls. People stopped whispering when they saw me. Some came up to hug me, to say how glad they were that I was alive. Others avoided me still, too embarrassed by their part in believing the lie. Linda went with me to the Social Security office, her head bowed, her voice low. She admitted what she had done. There were consequences, serious ones, but for the first time in a long time, she faced them instead of hiding behind stories. For me, the hardest part wasn't the money or the paperwork. It was the quiet moments, sitting on my porch in the evening, trying to make peace with what had happened. Some nights I felt bitterness rise up like a tide, threatening to swallow me whole. Other nights, I felt a fragile hope, like maybe healing could grow in the cracks of betrayal. What kept me steady was this: I had shown up. I had walked into that post office, into the heart of the lie, and I had claimed my place in the world again. I was alive, and that was something no one could take away from me. The leaves began to turn as autumn rolled in. The air cooled, the evenings softened, and the town seemed to settle back into its rhythm. On Sundays, I still went to the park, sitting on the same bench with the fading wood, watching families pass by. Sometimes Linda joined me, sitting in silence, trying to rebuild something fragile between us. It would take time. Trust was not a seed that sprouted overnight. But I held on to the thought that even broken roots could sometimes grow again, if given enough patience, enough care. As I folded one of my letters and slid it back into its envelope, I looked around the park, the children laughing, the sunlight spilling through the branches. For the first time since stepping off that bus, I felt steady again, rooted in the simple truth of my own survival. I was not gone. I was here, and I intended to live the days I had left as fully as I could. Letters in hand, breath in my lungs, and a heart that still, somehow, had room for forgiveness.